Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm Taylor Gonzalez, and my guest today plays Joe in the upcoming horror film Viral Haunt. I'm so excited to have Will Wickham here with me today. Will, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me. It's funny, I have been doing interviews for Viral Hunt all day today. So I just did both Jacks back to back, Jack Hoy and Jack Hyde. So
Yes.
it's very funny to me because I was telling them about how I had to make sure to keep all the Jacks correct, like when I was doing the names and the introductions and then like all the graphics and everything. Did it
Yeah,
ever?
honestly, it got pretty confusing on set at times because obviously some people like to be called their character name on set. So I was always, it was getting between Jack, Jake, Rich. I can't even, honestly. Like, I was forgetting their real names at one point, but yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, with two Jacks, and then one of the Jacks' characters' name is Jake, so that's also close to
Yeah.
Jack. I would have been confused the whole time.
Yeah, honestly, I called Jack. Jack who plays Jake, I think I just called Jake. And then I just called Jack who plays Richard because it was just easier, to be honest. But yeah.
And then your character also starts with a J. You play the character
Yeah.
Joe.
Joe, yeah. Genuinely though, that's what happened. Like, I think we just ended up calling each other by character names because I think you just, yeah, honestly, it was just easier at that point because that's kind of how you associate each other. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, what can you tell me about your character of Joe?
Well, I'd say so. Obviously, there's a big group of them. They've all kind of bring their own sort of thing to the group. So obviously you've got obviously you probably would have found Jake. Yeah, Jake earlier is kind of the he's a bit of a dick really. He's kind of the ringleader, but he's a bit of a bully to be honest. And I'd say Joe is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum where I think he's kind of the good character. You kind of want to do well. You're probably kind of rooting for him a little bit more as well. And he kind of is a little bit lighter, especially towards the start of the film. He's a little bit more jokey, and he's got like a fun energy, I think. But obviously, as the film goes on, you kind of see that he's quite, I think, an empathetic character, and he actually wants to help. And and obviously, I can't spoil what happens, but kind of towards the end, we kind of see a different side to him, and yeah, obviously I won't say anything else, but yeah, I think he's got a few factors to him, but ultimately, yeah, he's kind of I think the guy you're probably rooting for a little bit more than some of the others, but yeah.
Oh, nice. How did you get involved with this project?
Oh, I just saw the casting call. So yeah, obviously just applied, auditioned. I think they said to me they had like obviously like it's so competitive. It's honestly like obviously being an actor, you're kind of used to the rejection side of things because there's so many kind of things you audition for, but obviously it's so competitive. Hundreds of people will apply, thousands sometimes even. So yeah, it was just good to obviously audition and then yeah, getting the role was good because I think they told me they originally kind of had someone else in mind for the role, but then they kind of saw me and thought I suited the character of Joe quite well. So then yeah, I got it, which was good.
Oh, very cool. Are you a big horror fan?
Well, yes and no. I'm not. It's not like like it's not the thing I only watch, but I do love kind of mystery thriller horror, not kind of like slasher horror, kind of like my favorite horror film is The Lighthouse.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I love that kind of more like eerie kind of vibe rather than sort of blood and gore. I'd say that kind of horror film that kind of has maybe like a slightly dystopian or fantastical element to it that you don't quite know that's always in the background. So that's kind of my niche of horror that I would watch as a
Oh,
as a
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, very nice. Besides Lighthouse, what are some of your other favorite horror films?
I watched it's the Midsummer.
Oh,
The
nice.
oh my God, like yeah, that was so good. The thing is, I watched that with my dad as well, and like we kind of didn't know what to expect. So I was like, "Oh, I've heard it's really good. I've heard it's scary," and like we were both like terrified watching it. It was just so eerie and creepy, but so well done. I thought, yeah, I'd say, yeah, that's definitely up there as well.
So this film deals with ghosts and it deals with the paranormal. Do you believe in ghosts?
So this is quite funny. So I'd say Me personally, no. I'm a bit of a cynic, to be honest. Yeah. I kind of there's a part of me which would love to, but I just don't, to be honest. Like, but what was really interesting was obviously on set. Obviously, working with lots of other people. Was yeah, there were obviously people who, especially in that creepy house we were filming in, obviously were yeah, a little bit scared because they really thought there might be something haunted about the house. And like when we heard like little bangs or stuff or like creaking, people were really, oh, well, there could be, I was just, and I was obviously winding them up. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. There's a ghost. Da, da, da.
Oh
But
my gosh.
personally, no. But you know, if I saw something that made me believe in it, then yeah. But I'm yet to see it. So.
At what age did you get into acting?
So quite well, I went in a quite a roundabout way to do it because I did it when I was a lot younger, when I was sort of at school and stuff. But then I didn't do it for like years, and I actually went to university and studied neuroscience.
Oh wow.
So I didn't study acting. So I did that, and sort of towards the end of that, I kind of decided it wasn't for me. So I sort of went back to acting. It's something, I always had that performance side that I wanted to explore more. So yeah, I got back into it in that way. So sort of the age of, I think 21, I probably started kind of doing it more properly, properly pursuing it. So yeah, and I'm 23 now, which seems weird to say. I don't feel 23. I still feel like, yeah, 20. But yeah, so probably like a couple of years. So yeah, it's still quite early days, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I say, I went in a very odd, circuitous route to it, not the traditional sort of drama school way. But
What was your very first role that you ever had?
so it was in. I like most people, obviously. I kind of wanted to go more into screen, so it was in a short film. Um, and yeah, it was one of the first ones I did. It was filming in a laundrette, which was very interesting. It was quite like a cute little romantic story, and I played like a very sort of shy, awkward sort of guy who wanted to ask out his date, and and it was quite fun to do. But yeah, we were shooting in a laundrette overnight for 2 nights, and there was no heating as well. So it was like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 2 nights in a row with no heating, which was pretty chilly. But yeah, that was my first sort of little short film that I did. And yeah, obviously it's quite weird to look back. That was back in obviously what 2023 probably start of or late 2022. So it is always weird to look back, like sort of what you've done and where you've come, and yeah.
Mhm. Oh, that's very cool though. Is that available anywhere for people who want to watch it right now?
I don't think so. It's not like it's not on a streaming platform or anything. Um, so no, I couldn't actually tell you where to watch it. It's probably on YouTube somewhere, but
Oh, nice.
yeah, it wasn't like like a big theatrical release. But it was quite a fun little project, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's always fun to hear people's stories about like how they got their start and then see where they go from there. And speaking of going into the future, is there a dream role out there that you would like to perform one day, whether it's like a certain character or a certain film that you would like to be a part of?
I mean, see, it's such a tough question. Things I think my favorite roles would be book characters because I'm a big reader, and I think I always say if I could ever play someone like Sherlock Holmes, that would be really cool for me. I don't know why. I mean, just obviously Benedict Cumberbatch did it was just absolutely phenomenal. And that is one of my favorite series. But I always say, yeah, that book character would be pretty cool. And then another one I quite like the sound of maybe because of it was quite a big series for me when I was a kid. It was Doctor Who.
Oh,
I always
nice.
I always wanted to kind of because I love sci-fi and fantasy and that sort of thing. So I kind of always wanted to play something to do with that. And then probably the other one again as a kind of I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. So I think anything to do with Middle Earth or something like that would be really cool, like playing an elf or I don't know, something like that.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
that was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. But no, I think it's one of those questions where ultimately you don't quite know where your kind of career might take you.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, who knows what I might end up doing. But yeah.
Yeah, no, totally true. And since you're a big reader, what are some of your favorite books?
I'd say, and this is the other character who I was coming on to, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh,
I would like that is a phenomenal book, and there have been so many adaptations of it. There was a French one this year which I just watched, which I thought was actually one of the better ones, to be honest. I think there's a new series coming out as well this year of it, but like none of them really do the book justice because the book is so vast. Like I've literally got it on my shelf here, and it's like thick. It's like 900 pages, and there's just so many like layers of it, revenge in his plot essentially. And yeah, so that kind of ties into the previous question as well. Yeah, that's another character. If I could make a book character come to life, it would be that character, I think, as well.
oh, that'd be awesome. Are you currently reading any books right now?
Yes, I've literally got it right here. It's like well, it's almost like I prepared. I didn't know you were going to ask me about books, but Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to read John le Carré for ages. Because I remember I watched. Thing is, you often end up watching a film before you've read the book. So I did that with I think it was The Constant Gardener. I'm pretty sure it's one of his. Um, but yeah, that film was amazing then. So as well, and I saw the film of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy years and years ago. So I've been meaning to start reading it for ages, but yeah, it's really, really good. So I started with The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, which is one of his earlier books, which is really, it's like Cold War espionage. But the thing I love about it is that it's just the antithesis of James Bond. James Bond is like this, suave, cool character who's, women find him irresistible, that sort of thing. But George Smiley, the kind of main spy in this, is, like a older, unathletic sort of guy who is just completely the antithesis of James Bond. So I quite like that. It feels a lot more sort of gritty and real than sort of Bond does. That's why I'm very much enjoying it.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'm very curious about Bond and the future of the whole James Bond franchise and what they're going to do and who they're going to announce as the next actor to play Bond because it's been a while now since No Time to Die released. So it's like I'm ready for at least an announcement, and then hopefully within the next couple years we get the next Bond because it's been too long.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think as well. I want them to see someone like younger in the role because I feel like what can sometimes happen is by their kind of third or fourth film they start to look a little bit old for it. Like I remember Roger Moore towards the end was looking a little bit sort of too old to be Bond. So yeah, it'd be nice if they cast someone sort of like maybe younger, sort of like, maybe late 20s, 30, that sort of age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got no idea who it's going to be. Obviously, I mean, I'm kind of yeah keen to see who it will be as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is they take, 2 to 3 years per film. And it's like, well, if you want them to play, for like 4 or 5 films, you're going to have to cast someone younger or else
Yeah,
they're going to be too old. So
yeah,
it's
exactly. And I
it's
mean, as
nuts.
as as good as Daniel Craig is, like Casino Royale is my favorite Bond film. His first one, I think that is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously by the end, yeah, he's getting a little bit, he's 50 plus, and I think they made it work actually. But yeah, it can sometimes look like, he's getting on a little bit too much. Bond
Yeah.
anyway. But
What about what you're watching right now? Are you watching any series or any movies right now that you would recommend to people?
oof. I watched one of the best films I've ever seen recently. It's by Denis Villeneuve, Incendies. I think that's how you say it
Ooh,
in
okay.
French. So yeah, it's French Canadian. So I watched it with subtitles on, and it's just so well done, and it's harrowing and heartbreaking in so many ways, but also just yeah, thrilling and mystic, like mysterious. I say that's one that would stay with me. Um, and as well, God, I watched another really good one recently. It'll come to me. But in terms of series, I'm watching at the moment. My sister really got me into Outlander.
Okay.
And I've like it is really good, and it's just so bingeable. And thing is, I'm not a binger. Like I usually, like when sort of like House of the Dragon, the series came out recently, The Last of Us as well.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, when it comes out, it's one episode a week, and I can kind of do that. But when
Mhm.
it's all in front of me, yeah, I've just totally binged it, to be honest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the other one I watched recently, which I haven't quite finished, but I'm in the middle of, is The Penguin.
So
Um,
good.
yeah, I'm in the middle of it. It's so good, but like honestly, Colin Farrell in that is so good. Like he's totally unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that like you just cannot see any of the actor in there just makes it so cool.
Yeah.
And like he's just hilarious. Like yeah, I think that was really good.
Yeah, if it wasn't for like the behind the scenes pictures and videos of him getting all the prosthetics and makeup put on, I don't know that I would believe that that was actually him. It doesn't look like him. It doesn't sound like him. Like nothing about it can you even tell. Like if you were to, walk up to him in real life, you would have no clue that that's who was underneath under all of
No,
that. It's
literally.
just like
Like the
mind blowing.
performance, and, like the physicality as well, the way he gets
Mhm.
the waddle going, like the accent when he's going like Vic, you got cilantro on my tacos and that sort of thing. It's like, like he genuinely like, oh, it was so good. But I haven't quite finished it. I've got like two episodes left, so don't spoil it. But
So if there's somebody who's watching this interview right now and they are also passionate about acting, what advice would you give to them when they're first starting out their career?
ooh, so that's a good question. That's one that people often ask. It's like, what would you have liked to know
Mhm.
when you first started? That's kind of how I would answer it. Is so I say honestly, you just gotta, it's firstly, like I mentioned, just getting used to the rejection side of things. Like it's so competitive and ultimately it's not as simple as, you know, good actors work and bad actors don't. It's kind of there's a lot more to it than that. There's plenty of good actors who can't find work and, vice versa as well. So I'd say just, yeah, get used to the fact there's going to be a lot of rejection and ultimately don't take it personally. Just always take it as something to learn from. Like whenever, you've done an audition, often you don't get feedback as well. So you've just got to try and learn as much as you can from every time you do it. Um, and usually there's, another reason aside from you, maybe why you haven't got the role. Often it's because, somebody else was just better suited to the role or so you have to kind of have that self-belief in yourself that you're doing all you can. And there's factors which, some are in your control, but some are outside of your control because ultimately you never know who you're going to be up against. And there's a lot of talented people who, might ultimately be more suited to that role. And yeah, your role, your perfect role might not come along for, a number of years. So I'd say, yeah, if anyone's starting out, that's definitely something I would say. And then the other thing as well is just patience. And as a very, very impatient person who, wants to kind of, do stuff all the time, and that can be quite difficult. I think I'm learning the more I go on. Yeah, you've just gotta be patient. Gotta let other things happen that are, like I say, outside of your control, and just yeah, try and be positive about it because it can be tough at times when you're not landing roles, you're not getting auditions. So yeah,
No, I think that is all great advice and something that people who are just starting out, it's great for them to hear something like this so they are better prepared. But Will, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day to be here and join me for this. I can't wait to see your performance in Viral Haunt. But in the meantime, is there a good place for people to follow you and keep up with all your upcoming projects?
yeah, on Instagram's usually the best. Will underscore Wickham, I think. Yeah, well, I'm not massive on social media. Like I don't use it that much, but I occasionally share a picture or two. So yeah, and I'm sure when there are some nice sort of stills or videos from the film, I'm sure I'll share some of them.
Oh,
So yeah,
perfect. Well, thank you again, Will, for being here, and it was very nice to meet you, and I really look forward to seeing your role in the film.
perfect. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.